Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. Yes, we are giving you guys a live on Ready to Love, and it's a super panel. We'll have a few of the guests, super panel guests, coming up in a few minutes. Yeah, listen, guys, I'm gonna make it very clear. We're here for 2 hours and 2 hours only. If you're late, I don't give a heck. I'm not going back. We're gonna be here for 2 hours because I need to sleep and I want to go to my bed. But we are talking to you guys about the special Ready to Love because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Let me start with a little bit of a rant. It is the worst season I've ever seen in Ready to Love history. The worst. I need them to see this so they can make changes. Okay. It is the worst season I've ever seen in my entire life from Ready to Love. It's disjointed. There's no storytelling. I feel like there's no connections. I don't know who picked the castmates because they don't even match and mesh very well, right? They don't even, there's no matching or meshing of anything. So we haven't even got them duppy idiot thing connections. We got none of that because none of them mesh well. So whoever chose them is absolute fugazi. You understand what I'm saying to you? Fugazi. So for me personally, it's been the worst season ever of Ready to Love because there's nothing that is gluing this season together. It's so unfortunate. So unfortunate, right? But alas, we are still here holding it down. I do feel like the direction of the Ready to Love, something's off. Now, it's been off for the last few seasons, but something's really off this season. You know what I mean? I don't know what they changed. I don't know what they did differently. Apparently, the reunion's also been shot already. So the reunion will not really have all the stuff that's needs to be addressed. They've already shot the reunion. In fact, they shot it before the show came out. So in all actual fact, what's going to happen is we're going to have an absolute doo-doo reunion. Because there's not going to be all, we're not going to have all the things that need to be addressed throughout the course of the season being addressed because they shot it before they actually released the actual season. So what I'm looking to do, and hopefully I can pull this off, okay? What I'm looking to do is to have my own reunion. I'm going to reach out to as many of the castmates as possible. We can only have 10 at a go anyway, so we might have to do it over a special way. But I'm going to try and reach out to the Ready to Love people, all right? And I'm going to try and do a Ready to Love hosting after the reunion drops. You know why? Because we got questions. All right. So I'll put up a post and, in the meantime, well, towards the end, and we'll get you guys to drop questions that we need to ask because I'm not satisfied. Right. So what I feel that I need to do, I need to take things into my own hands and start doing things properly. Okay. All right. We need questions. We need reasons why. Why did you do this? We need all of that. Right. Because this is fugazi. This is fugazi is trash. You know what I mean? It's trash. I'm sorry. I want them to understand this. I want to see them do better. I want to see them grow. I want to see them have better shows. It's a shit show. It's trash. Okay? It's time to what? It is time to change what you're doing. What you've been doing has not been working. It's time to change it. Okay? All right. So we'll try our best to see what we can do. And we'll try and get a few of the castmates together, if they will, after the reunion show, so that they can actually have a proper say and be unfiltered and unadulterated in what they say. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. That's what I'm going to say. It's going to be interesting to see what actually happened. Okay, so we're gonna do our best. All right. That being said, let's get into the show. For those of you who are new to this channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we want you guys to click on that back bell button so you get notified of when we go uploads and when we go live. Okay, all right. And so for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. Okay, all right. All right, cool. Listen, all right, let's get into the show. See Jay's there. Fantastic. Jay, let's jump straight in because I don't want to waste no time. I don't want to waste no time. I don't
Hey,
want
what's
to.
up, everybody? Hold on one second. I'm trying to get my camera on, but things keep popping
Okay,
up.
okay. Yes, let me get your thing up. Get your thing up. You get your camera up. Hold on. But yeah. So listen, I think the main thing I want to talk about, and I'll quickly address this before the rest of the panel people come up, is I think the main thing I want to talk about is the first thing I want to talk about is Lee and Quinton's date. If anybody remembers Lee and Quinton's date, I think that was quite interesting. So Lee and Quinton's date was really interesting for me personally because I just saw her interview with Crystal. I haven't seen it all, but what I wanted to talk about was the fact that when Quinton said about he'd been ghosting her, now she gave a bit more context of what the ghosting was. It wasn't really ghosting, but I think it's quite interesting, right? I think the reason why the ghosting was mentioned was because he might have felt like he ghosted. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like he might have felt he ghosted her when he was ignoring her. I know it wasn't forever, but the reason why he said it is that he might have felt like he ghosted her. That's why he said it. Like he didn't, like he might have told her, "Oh, I didn't mean to say it." No, you meant to say what you said. You meant what you said. You ghosted her because you ignored her in those few moments. You were overwhelmed and you ghosted her. That's the, you know, you didn't ghost her forever. You know what I mean? But that was part of it. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he said what he said. But instantly enough, I think that scenario, that scene was quite interesting, and I have a few different viewpoints on this. And maybe I'll do a different breakdown later on in the week with the Lee situation. What I found interesting is that I totally understand where Lee was coming from when she said, like, for him to say ghosting in front of another woman, that was rude. It was inconsiderate. It was disrespectful, and it gave Janelle a foothold to be disrespectful to Lee if she wanted to, because you've already started that by talking about about you saying, that you ghosted her, and that should have never been said in front of the rest of the group. That don't make no sense. But I think also. Sorry about that. My microphone went. But yeah, no. I was asking, why does he want her to fight? Like, what is it that he wants her to fight for? But then I found it interesting. I'm gonna be very real. On Lee's interview, she was like, and I might have to watch it again, and maybe I can be stand corrected. But she kind of said that she didn't want to be placed in a position where she's having to fight for necessarily Quinton. But she kind of alluded to the fact that how can people get stressed about her multiple dating? They should be kind of fighting to kind of get to know her. And I was like, well, baby, you can't really be saying you ain't gonna fight for someone, or you find like it might be a little bit distasteful for someone to say it to you, but you kind of allude to the fact that someone should kind of be making, if they see you as someone else, that they should kind of fight that and go after you. Let me give an example of what I meant. She gave an example of seeing Phil with Aries. Now, maybe she needs to expand on this a bit more. She gave an example of Phil and Aries and said she saw Phil with Aries and was like, actually, I don't need to fight this. Phil and Aries look so cute. Ga. But if now someone says, like Chris is saying, I saw you and Quinton look real too close, you can't tell me that I should be fighting for you when you did the exact same thing with Phil and Aries. You just left it alone, right? Now, of course, I'm sure there's a bit more to the story. There's probably more nuance to the story. And I'm not really trying to come at Lee like that, but I just want to be real with you. I hold everybody accountable when I hear some stuff that don't really make sense. And that, for me, didn't make no sense. It's like, you can't say someone else can't, you can't say that they should be fight. You can't fight, but they should be fighting for you. I was like, not sure about that. But maybe I'll go and do some research and listen to it again, that part, because it kind of sounded a bit suspect. But anyway, let me get Jay on. Well gone, Jay.
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, everybody.
What's going on, baby?
Happy Monday to you all. It's been a weekend.
Yeah, you don't know, cuz. You don't know.
I've been lit all weekend. Let's see. What we talking about? Lee and Q, right? On that situation. When I listened to it back today, I realized that Q had no ill intentions when he said it. It was bad placement, bad timing. Definitely shouldn't have said it the way he said it. it would have been better if he generalized it instead of highlighted Lee specifically. And that's what I think ticked her off. Because it could have definitely been a general statement of just like, you know what, it was just like the other day when I ghosted the ladies. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to make it seem like that, I can see where Lee is coming from, because it's like, oh, you ghosted me, but you probably had conversation with her. Or if I've been watching how she plays, she's going to sit there and take this information like, oh, yeah, well, he's still talking to me, regardless if he's talking to her or not. She's going to be like, oh, he be talking to me all the time. Well, he ghosting you. Like, so I get how Lee is like, why would you say it in front of her? Why would you do that? I just wish that she didn't shut down the way she did. And I recognize that issue, you know what I'm saying? Because I had that in me in the past, but I had to learn to not be bothered, even if I'm bothered. So in that moment, it was just like, you needed not to be bothered, sis. And just let them have it. Like, yeah, you ghosted me, but here we are. You know, and I think that's what Q picked up on, is just that I'm not going to say Lee doesn't have confidence, but it doesn't come out at certain times. And a lot of times I notice that men like that energy is like when we're out in public, or some men, I'm not gonna say all, but when we're out in public and we especially dealing with other females in present, because he don't want you to be lost in the crowd. And sometimes I think with Lee, for her, she has a wonderful body that kind of speaks for herself, so she don't have to say much. So that just might be some of her placement in life, where it's like, I'm not gonna say much, I'm not gonna do much. Like, if you don't accept me, moving on. But I really do feel like in that moment, I just wish she didn't blow up internally and just shut down and not say and continue the conversation with herself. You know, I'm not with herself, but with the group, interacting with the group. Even if it's just like one of them things like, you know, you was wrong for that, when we speak to you later. But yeah. And it's, when I say she shouldn't be bothered, you're going to be bothered. I see this Gifty, when you're saying she should be bothered. Yeah, you be bothered internally, but I should not let you know I am bothered. That's the thing. It's an art, it's a trade, it's your poker face. So after a while, you don't want to let the whole group know I'm bothered by something you say. I can address that with him later. I'm talk to him later on the side or whatever. But in that moment, in front of my competition, I'm definitely not about to let her know that I've been pushed back by anything. Like, it's a competition thing. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, you know, it was very, first and foremost, it was very rude from Quentin to say what he said in front of another woman that he's interested in, and he did embarrass her in those moments, and he definitely, you know, made her feel some type of way. I'm definitely down with that. But I agree with you as well. I felt like, I feel like, I mean, I know she said on an interview that she didn't want to give a response that was a bit wild or whatever, as a Black woman, which is fair. I get that. But I think you're absolutely right. Like, I didn't see that as a no response. I saw that as a shutdown. That's completely different. Right. So we can say it was something, but in reality, what I saw wasn't just oh, you know, I'm not responding. I want to keep my poise. It was, you shut down. And I'll be honest with you, probably more than likely, she was very hurt by what he said, and the shutdown was a way of her kind of just regaining some composure, or, you know, just trying to, or generally was hurt by what he said, and it, and she should be hurt. I'm not saying that she shouldn't. I just think that then he read it in a different way, which was because he's not reading the situation from, I said that what I've just said is just rude. He's reading it from a situation, I said something and you just shut down. And look, nobody's saying that he's the right person for her, but she said that in the interview that at that moment, that's it, their relationship took a turn after that. I understand why. I'm just saying that for her, I think at the moment she shut down, and like you said, it's a competition as well, a little bit as well. Never let them see you sweat, kind of thing. You just don't want to. Do you know what I think it is? I think Lee has. I mind how I say this. Let me say it straight. I love Lee. I think she's beautiful. I think she's stunning. Okay, that's my pre-qualified before I send some shit. Basically, what I get from Lee is she's very sensitive. A bit like myself, I'm very sensitive, and I understand that when you're very sensitive, words really do hurt a lot. And we go into this coma state when we feel hurt. It's a way of self-soothing ourselves. Unfortunately, though, it makes you look weak to other people. Unfortunately, it's just with the jungle spec of it. When people start seeing you go shutting down, they start looking you not they don't look at you in a way of like, oh my god, like, you know, you had a moment. They look at you as that person's weak, man. They're just shutting down. They're not contributing anymore. Da 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 da. And so now you look like prey rather than looking like somebody who is solid. Now you look like somebody who's overly sensitive because you've shut down. And I'm not trying to shoot her down and thing. I'm only trying to read the situation as to how maybe also for Quentin, how he might have been reading it like, oh, she over emotional, bro. Like the one little thing I've said and she shut down completely like that. You know what I mean? And you know, so
it's a catch-22 in that moment for both parties. One, Q was telling his truth in that moment. It was bad wording, bad timing, but it was his truth. It was, I didn't mean to ghost you. If you really listen to it, it was, I didn't mean to ghost you, but this process got me going through some things. And that's what it should have been said instead of the way he just opened up and blurted it out.
Yeah.
For her on the flip side is a little bit, I'm this. When I'm caught off guard by something, I get a little hot tempered and I shut down in that moment. So I tend not to hear everything else that comes out your mouth. So I think that's what immediately happened to her, is that she heard him say, I ghosted you. After that, didn't hear why, the reason, or whatever afterwards. So it made her just shut all the way down. And that's something that I myself had to work on over time, is getting to a space to sit there and hear you say that, be triggered, but also be aware enough to sit here and hear the rest of the things that you're saying to me. So I can make sure this is not coming from a malicious place or some ill intent, or you're just, you know, being mean, but this is actually a true moment, but you just don't know how to word it to me. That's like me trying to figure out a little bit of grace on that moment. So it's just something that she just need to slow down, breathe through, to not be bothered. And if she's still bothered by it later on, it is okay to address them later on and say, hey, what you did earlier, that ain't cool. How you got it, you know what I'm saying? Some information you shouldn't be exposing to whatever. And that's just if you want to keep that connection. Now you can blow up spot by the little, any little thing you hear it if you want to. If that should set you off, set off, sis, you know what I'm saying? But in these moments with certain competition, especially with Janelle's play, I know just the animal in me, the gameplay in me wouldn't let her have that moment. But I get it. I have those moments too, Lee. So you're not alone, sis. What up, Seaway?
Yeah, I see where you're at.
Hey, Big Leo. Hey, big fire sign.
Leo energy going up, baby. It's about to go down tomorrow. It's a whole celebration, baby.
Okay.
I was so done. We're talking about obviously Lee and Quentin and their situation with what Quentin said, and her shutting down as well. So I wondered if you had any thoughts towards the Lee and Quentin situation, Zue.
This is really the only thing of this episode that I had major thoughts on. I'm going to try to keep it cute because I felt very strongly about this scene. I just feel like Quentin is a whole clown. And if I meet him in person, before y'all say this now, I would keep the same energy. I feel like that whole thing was just clown behavior. And personally, I am sensitive when it comes to people that I like care about and have feelings for. So I would have shut down just like Lee, like personally. Because she was probably already feeling a way that he was ghosting her and not, you know, like really responding. And when you already feel a way that someone's like not reciprocating energy, and then they confirm that, like what you've been already feeling in front of the ops, like it's no big deal. I mean, that was just so immature of him. Like, I don't know how old he is, but that was like such a 25-year-old way to say, like, and I ghosted Lee. He clearly doesn't want Lee like that, because to me, that was just a really childish thing to do. So if she lost her position because she shut down because her feelings were hurt, this is not a man that was looking to care for her, protect her, and keep her away from danger, hurt, and harm, to me. So if that was his response, really, I have smoke for his response. He can say whatever he wants in person. It may not be taken the right way. He may have meant it the wrong way, whatever. But if he's just like, Lee just shut down, that could be your man. You gonna let your competition take your man? I really I was literally screaming at the screen. I'm like, please go to hell, Quentin. I'm so sorry. I really apologize, but please. He's a clown.
Hey,
he's 2023, man.
Tell him like I say, C-Way, if you gonna take him, you can have him. He ain't my man. Please have him.
I'm like, is this what's going on in 2023? That's why they told Tia to keep her husband. Because these are the men that are in these streets. Quentin is in these streets. This is what people like Lee got to deal with. That's why they told Tia to keep her husband. This is who's out here. This is sad. This is sad.
These streets ain't for the weak, baby.
These streets, if you got a man, keep him. Because at this point, at this juncture, you got to deal with Quentin.
Or be a city girl the rest of your life.
I mean, listen, he asked her to fight a little bit more, don't just run away from the fight, you know what I mean? If a man says he's gonna shut down and not fight for the woman, first thing we're gonna say is, well, he doesn't like her clearly enough then. You know what I mean? Like, why are you just gonna give up like that? You know what I mean? So maybe Lee needs to put a bit of pepper in her step. Huh? Well, I'm not fighting for the woman either. I'm not fighting for the woman either. Huh? We shouldn't be fighting for women either.
So we fighting for men?
I'm saying we should be fighting for women either. I'm saying that if you like it, you go for it, right? Clearly you don't want it enough.
Yeah, I didn't know we was fighting for men in 2023. I didn't.
I think like this. I'll fight for who's fighting with me and for me. That's about it. If you fight with me and for me, I'll fight. But if you fight against me,
show me you want me. Tell me you want me.
I need confirmation. So who's your top?
I'm gonna be your bottom.
Pause.
I said it to a woman. How does that need to pause?
Pause.
It's still a bad slang. It's still a bad slang for here.
How is that a bad slang? Oh, yes. Is that gay?
You got to say, I'll be on the bottom, not your bottom. Be on the bottom.
Okay.
You don't want to say you're going to be somebody.
You might even want to say, I'll be underneath. Just say, I'd be underneath.
Don't repeat that. No, not ever again. Why you talking about pause? Get on this camera.
Oh man. I'm gonna rescind that, guys. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was that. My bad.
Look at Sean's
my bad.
face.
We saying Sean.
You touched his heart.
Man.
You touched his heart.
Bro, you down bad out here. I had to rush to get on. I was like, no.
At least you got him on quicker.
I was like, no, please. Just nothing with the bottom. Nothing. Just leave it alone. Just let it go.
Oh, man. My bad, guys. I want to be underneath. I should have said, isn't it? So my bad.
No, Kojo, just
leave it alone now.
Please, just stop. Full stop. Flag on the play. Just no. It's done.
It's not bad, guys. My bad.
Negative boo.
You're out of here.
Yes, you're out of here. You're done.
You're done. You're done. Blow the whistle.
That's it.
That was a good laugh. I needed that.
You joined at the right time, Sean. We're talking about Lee and Quentin and saying that did Lee shut down when Quentin was disrespectful? Was she right to shut down? Did Quentin do too much? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you know, this is a classic case of when bumping your gums too much goes wrong, you know, because he just got to talking real comfortably at the table and he thought that it was just him and Lee there. Because if that's a him and Lee conversation, there's nothing wrong with him saying that. But you forget that you're in mixed company, you know. If you from, you know, I'm showing my age, you know, if you from that particular genre era rather, we know in mixed company, there's just certain things you just don't say. You know, you gotta, you know, kind of have a little self-edit going on. And he got to talking, oh, I was ghosting Lee. Why are you talking about your relationship that's with Lee with somebody else that's also in your potential dating pool? So I could understand how, you know, Lee was offended. But, you know, I think she should have been like, you ghosted me where? You never ghosted me, you know? Just like pretending she's like, oh, you ghosted me? I must have missed it. I guess we ghosted each other, you know? And that's what I would have did. Oh, you did you? Oh, then we were ghosting each other because I missed it. And then we have a behind the scenes conversation like, one, you know, please, if you got something to say to me that's like that's gonna make me look like you are devaluing me, let's just talk it on the one-on-one. Okay. So, and I think that's all she needed to do. Now, his mentality of, you know, needing to be fought for, hey, I don't necessarily share that sentiment. I think if you're interested in me, I should know, right? I don't need a woman fighting for me. I don't need to be courted. I don't need flowers. You know, I don't need all that stuff. That's not what I personally need to feel validated in a situation. But I need to know you're interested. And I need to know that there's some reciprocity, as Jay was saying, there's some mutual interest in one another. Other than that, I don't need you to fight for me. I don't need the amazing race. I don't need none of those, you know, Hunger Game activities going on, because that just creates more drama, you know. And I think we've seen that kind of stuff play out. And at this phase in my life, I don't need that level of toxicity. A different toxicity, maybe I'll dabble in, but not that.
I hear that 100%. 100%. All right, cool. Let's talk about another person. Chris and Jessica had a situation. Chris introduced his ex-girlfriend to Jessica, and Jessica's energy was overpowering, apparently, and also, you know, the ex chose Aries. Was it Aries? Was it Aries or someone else for him rather than it being Jessica? Right. Want to get your thoughts on that situation. You know, is Jessica too hard? Does she need to soften a little bit? You know what I mean? Is Chris too much? Because I mean, the story was that, you know, his ex-girlfriend said she was basically is doing everything for him. You know, basically she got lost in his world, basically. So, what's your thoughts on this situation, Chris and Jessica?
I'm trying to figure out why everybody is so impressed by Chris's whispering behind. Like I'm trying to figure out why I feel like I'm on an island by myself seeing through his bull crap. A man gets to whispering and he's soft spoken, and all of a sudden y'all think he your king. I'm just really, really, really just confused. And maybe this is my gift of discernment. I will know. I be knowing, okay? But I ain't seen it for Chris for a minute now. Chris want a man, Chris want a woman. Here's the problem with Chris. I didn't mean that. Well, anyway, I really didn't mean that. Chris, Sean, stop. Chris wants a person. He wants a woman that's strong like Jessica, right? Only to complain, only to say, oh, you need to be more meek and submissive, only to find a problem. My thing is, why is Jessica in your top anyway if you got a problem with every single thing that she do? Is Jessica kind of hard? Yes. Is she a little overbearing? A little bit. Is she unapologetic about it? I would say so. But she has been this way from the beginning to end. So if she is so alpha female, aggressive, loud, he said, when she didn't even come in the room loud, if she is all of these things, then why do you want to be bothered? That's my thing. I don't get it. Like, why want a woman who's all those things just to change her? Then the ex-girlfriend say, you know, she want him to choose the other girl because Jessica's too hard. But you were cooking and cleaning and washing his butt and doing what all this other stuff that you said you were doing. And what it got you? 10 years of girlfriend, like she said. So my thing is clearly Chris the Whisperer, in my opinion, is very problematic. And it doesn't matter if it's Jessica, Miss Submissive, or Aries. I think he's the problem. And if you don't want a woman like Jessica, then leave her alone. Because you already know who she is. So that's all I got to say. Don't be fooled by the hat and the garb and the whispering, guys. That's all I got.
Chris is royalty, Nigerian royalty, okay? You better put some respect on his name, all right? All right? This is why the women must cater to the likes of Chris, okay? Your royal is clean, your highness. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want. And see, the recruiter over there, the ex-girlfriend, she recruiting. So she telling you what kind of woman you got to be with Chris, okay? So Jessica is just not going to make it. I'm sorry. Jessica ain't about to do none of this pampering, coddling, none of these daggone things. She is not. So just leave her be. They need to leave each other be. This is giving me versus needs versus wants. Chris needs Jessica. He needs a Jessica in his life. He needs somebody to really get his behind motivated to be that, because he needs to be that. If he wants a submissive woman, you need to take that lead. If you want a submissive woman, I'm trying to figure out the ex-girlfriend somehow. How are you being so submissive to this man? And to the point that you're still telling him that's what you need in your life. And when I say submissive, I mean it in not the biblical sense. I mean it in the sense that everybody in YouTube streets like to say it in as servitude. Like you were in full servitude of this man. Yet you're going to turn around and tell these ladies, like, yeah, this is what you need to do. No, he needs to go ahead and step up some game somewhere. So therefore, if he wants a submissive woman or a woman to be submissive and cater to him, that he is taking a full lead, but at the same time, still attentive to her needs. That's the biggest problem at the thing with the ex. She said, I'm basically putting your whole thing forefront and you don't have no time for me still. That's a huge problem. Like, I don't have no problem with you going to go to work, paying all the bills, doing all these things. But at the same time, you still need to cater to me like I need to cater to you. Period. So if we don't have this exchange, you need to go be by yourself and do you. Because that's what actual submissive is me letting you take that lead. And I can't trust you to take the lead if I have a strong personality and you're going to sit here and find that it's combative because my personality is strong and I have to talk to you a certain type of way every 5 seconds. I can talk to you respectfully, but at the same time, I have a way that I might speak. Like my family are very loud people. So when they come into the room, they're going to be way louder than Jessica was. They're a presence. My whole family is a presence. We come from a family of presence. So when I walk into the room, sometimes I'm quiet and sometimes I'm literally turned up. You're just going to have to get a part of my personality, just like I'm going to have to get a part of yours. So if you don't like the way I am, leave me alone. And I can respectfully do the same to you. And I think these two people just need to go ahead and leave each other alone completely because it's nothing there. You guys match only because he is a little bit more docile than she is, and it balances out. But you two just clearly don't want it that way. You want the opposite. So just leave each other alone.
Well, I don't know what else to say. I'll start with where I can see Chris's point, right? You know, Jessica does have that kind of personality. You know, if you remember from when they did the improv exercise, she like jumped straight into blaming, you know, the spouse, you know, well, if we had the accident, it was your fault, blah, blah, blah. You know, she went off on a tangent. And it kind of just showed a little bit of her personality to be, you know, a little bit more on the confrontational side or maybe a little more argumentative. And I think even some people, like, I think we all know people like this. And it doesn't make them bad people, but depending on who you are, it can rub you the wrong way, right? So we know people that, you know, they walk in and then they're going to make their presence known. So when they walk in the room, everybody has to know they walk in the room, right? Or, you know, they're going to push your boundaries a little bit, right? They're going to hug you just a little too tight. Or, you know, if they're meeting you the first time, and that looked kind of like the interaction with Jessica, right? She just squoze the girlfriend, you know, the ex-girlfriend a little tight. You know, she was just, you know, the energy was just either you could take them or you can't, right? And there's people that are like that. And again, I'm not saying it makes them a bad person, but that's how I kind of see Jessica. She's like, when I walk in the room, you're going to know who I am. You're going to see me. And it takes a certain kind of person that can be able to deal with that type of energy. My thoughts, right? So I think that's the part about her energy. Now, Chris, on this other hand, I don't see him, and again, this is just me being a viewer, being an observer. I don't see him as somebody that is commanding of all of this, bow down to me, bark like a dog, woof, woof, like I don't see him as Prince Hakeem. I just don't see it. Again, I don't see that energy translating, and that's just me as a viewer.
He missing that ducktail, that's why.
Huh? What'd you say?
He missing the royal ducktail, that's why.
I missed it. I totally missed it. So, I think there is some truth to, like, I don't think there should be conditional submissiveness or conditional femininity coming from women. And I don't think there should be conditional masculinity from men to women either. Like, you treat me this and I'm going to give you that. I should be who I am. You should be who you are. However, I do think, like, if you are somebody that wants something extraordinary, which is not the norm in 2023, then there needs to be some energy that extraordinarily comes from you to require what you're asking for. So I personally, no offense to Chris, I don't know him from a can of paint, never met him, but I don't see that energy translating where he's going to be able to get that. Now, obviously, there was some woman, his ex, that was willing to do a lot of what he asked. So my question is, she was beautiful, very attractive woman to me. Like, if that's what it takes to get you, why didn't she get you? Why didn't you commit? Like, really, outside of the BS, right? Like, if she was doing all those things, and it's going to be hard to find, it's going to be hard to find a woman that's willing to do all of those things and not even get the energy reciprocated back, because his ex was very clear that he wasn't, it was a very one-sided arrangement. So I don't know. Those are the questions and the things that are somewhat conundrums to me as to why he's expecting all of this, what he's giving that, is warranting of this level of attention. And I know at the end of the day, Jessica could care less. She is not going to change. She is not going to change who she is to be with no Chris. So he's just better off to just, sing Fantasia. If you don't want her, don't talk to her and let it go.
Cool. Any other thoughts on Chris and Jessica? Personally, I mean, she was a bit rough for me, but yeah. Go for it.
You really listen to Jessica speak. She is very stern, no matter who she's speaking to. Like, she's corporate, period. CEO, period. Like, all of her questions, the line of questioning she had, it was just woo, 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 woo. Is this? It's no humor to her, no light to her. So it does come off a certain way, but she tends to be that across the board. And so when I went back to last week, when he's telling her that, you speak to me this type of way or whatever, it has to be different from everybody else. Now, I kind of get that to a degree. Yes, you want your partner to talk to you in your own little special way. Y'all got your own little code or whatever, but that doesn't mean that I got to pamper you or talk like super light to you either. It's just that we have an understanding on how we talk to each other respectfully. But I still didn't kind of get where he wants her to change from when she's literally talks to everybody the same way. She can kind of talk a little bit, I guess, whisper to him. I don't really know, but I don't know how she's going to do that. It's just in her nature when you watch it. So I'm just like, why keep continuing to try to force her into a space that is not comfortable for her, to make yourself comfortable when you can just easily go find somebody else out there. Like Sean said, it happened once. It can happen again. You can find another soft-spoken woman who is willing to cater to you. So just let Jessica go. And we know that, let me shut up on Aries and him, but just let Jessica go and just move on and free yourself up to the women in your DM, because somebody gonna want to go ahead and be your ooh, bark like a dog chick. Like, she definitely not trying to be a Lisa. Right now, Jessica's a Lisa. Leave Lisa alone. That's not what you want. You don't want an independent thinker. You want to, okay, you know what, see where you rubbing off. Let me shut up.
I think he wants somebody closer to Jessica than he actually wants his ex. I just think he wants Jessica with a little bit more fluff and a little bit more softness, and not like soft in the submissive way, but just like a little, I think warm is probably what I'm talking about. I think he wants someone closer to Jessica, but a little warmer. I think she comes off very direct. I would say a little rigid and just kind of corporate. I guess you could say corporate speak straight up. She just doesn't seem like she cracks a lot of like hee ha ha jokes, right? And that's cool. That's her personality. I'm not here to tell her to change. And I'm not saying he has to change. He can keep whispering, doing whatever. I just feel like people just need to kind of figure out, what really works with them. I will say, though, being, super submissive in the way his ex was and doing everything that a man wants you to do usually does not end you up in the place that you want to be. I think a lot of people think that that's like what a wife's supposed to do, just do anything that a man wants you to do, and all that does is really signal that you have zero boundaries. And then that same man will literally leave you and go chase after a girl like Jessica, right? That's the irony of it all. Like old girl fixing his plate and wiping his butt, pretty much. Literally, he will leave her and go chase somebody like Jessica. Makes no sense. Maybe the men can explain that. I'm not a man. I don't know. I just know what I see. So.
I'm not fooling with Seaway and her hypotheses, so I ain't finna tussle over that. So I have no idea. You find me a beautiful woman that is agreeable and works well with me, and we can work together. I'm all butt in.
You don't like agreeable. You don't like agreeable. Sean.
I wasn't about to go there, but
you don't like agreeable.
That's so true. That's so true.
Sean's my brother, right? So we would not be together. But Sean like people with my personality. Quiet as is kept. He don't like agreeable. He likes to tussle with people like Jay and I. I'm just saying, it's the truth. It's okay.
He likes the spice, but that's not the
point. He don't like agreeable. He don't want you to be like annoying the hell out of him. Like, let's be clear. Like, there's a level. Like, you can't. Don't get.
Tell the truth on your brothers. Tell the truth.
There's a line for sure. If you agitate,
a little tussling.
There's a line.
There's a line.
I think people go over it, but agreeable. Come on now, Sean. No.
Yeah. No. But what we're saying, Sean, is that, and I'm gonna answer Seaway's question in the same token. Like, what it is that men want you to have just be enough up under them, supported up under them, but still have your own business. I think old girl just lost her own space, following up under him, catering up under him, doing whatever he needs, making sure she's there for him, and she's not pouring into herself, like having her own friends, doing her own thing, this and that. And sometimes, yes, men will take advantage of if you at they beck and call, because now you're predictable. You're like, they already know what you're going to do. They know you're going to do this, that, and stuff. So it's like, oh yeah, so now I'm gonna go chase after something a little bit more exciting, because I already know this is routine. You're going to be here. You're going to do this. You're going to do that, and the third. It's kind of like Danae and Derek. Your routine. So I need some spice, that little bit of toxicity that Sean like. I need to go tussle with somebody in these streets who's going to give me a real tussle. So you got to have some business about yourself, ladies. Definitely.
Absolutely, I hear that. I think personally, you know, I just think Jessica's just too hard for Chris. If I'm honest with you, she's just a little bit too hard for him. I think in reality, the situation is this, right? Men do love a little bit of tussle, and that tussle um, is in two ways. I'm gonna tell you the real truth. Okay, we like to tussle, but we should be winning. If we tussle and you win too many times, this ain't a tussle no more. That's a beat down. We don't need you. Okay? All right. I want to make it very clear. Our egos cannot take you beating us down on several times on these tussles. Okay? Now, someone might say that's a little bit, insecure. That's great. Let us be insecure and let us stick with a woman that won't beat us too much. Okay? That's the first thing. All right. With Jessica and Chris, Jessica gonna beat Chris' ass several times verbally. I'm not talking about physically, verbally. Okay, that woman will run rings around that boy and leave sonnet rings around him. I'm telling you for sure, right? So when that happens, for a lot of men, our egos cannot take that. It's not gonna work. Number two, she talks sometimes in commands and demands, not suggestions. A lot of times as men, they don't like that kind of stuff. As much as he says he likes strong women, he tells lies. Okay, let me not say lies. Let me rephrase that. Sorry, I apologize. What he needs to do is he needs to go and do some healing work. Okay, because here's the truth, right? A lot of guys say they like strong women. They're chatting bullcrap. Because what happens is they get a strong woman and they try to break her. The reality of the situation, they don't want a strong woman. They want someone who's got boundaries, and that's different from someone being strong. When he's talking about her strength, he's not talking about the fact she has good boundaries. He's literally talking about her strength. That's not what men want, right? Because that strength is in opposition to me being strong and you being able to stand in my protection of you, right? So in reality, this ain't gonna work very long because she's gonna tell him where to go. Okay, this is a woman who runs her own business. This is somebody who has her own thing. This is someone who's high flying. This is someone who, is killing the game. You know what I mean? And I'm listening to Chris and I'm like, I don't think when he says he wants a strong woman, the only reason why he's doing that is because there's a slight resemblance to his mum. Because his mum had to do a lot of the work because unfortunately his father, I think, passed away or whatever. So your mum's strong and you're looking at her like, this woman reminds me of my mum. But guess what? She has none of the nurturing qualities that you were looking for in her. So you like a part of her, but that's not what the qualities you're actually wanting in full totality. But so when he says he lacks that strength, yeah, you do like a little bit of it, but she doesn't have your culture. She doesn't have your mom's culture, right? Where the mom would be submissive and da-da-da. No, she doesn't have that culture in her. So you're not going to get that from Jessica. She's going to do what she needs to do. She's going to be independent. She's going to get what she get. So this is going to be a crash and burn thing for me. But I do take into consideration both parts where I think they can improve on. I need Chris to start thinking about what you mean by, you want someone to be almost an employee or self-serving of you, because it did kind of sound mad. When your ex-girlfriend was explaining what happened in the relationship, it sounded like she lost her life and her life became yours. We call that enmeshment. That ain't a good sign, right? So Osis probably needs to go and do some healing, because if she ended up enmeshing her life to yours, that's crazy enough as it is. But if she became someone who her whole life became you, and to serve you in that way, it didn't sound like somebody who's a helpmate. It sounded like somebody who is literally going to need some help, mate, because literally that person has lost themselves to you. So, yeah, I was a bit scared by that. I was like, and you have to understand that Jessica being so independent, if you try to do that to her, it's going to feel like control. It's going to feel like, you're not allowing her to be free. It's going to feel like restriction. This is going to turn into a fight straight away. Because as soon as she feels those controls, she gonna beat you up verbally. Yeah. So, and then you're gonna be saying some stuff, saying, you're not soft, you're not this, you're not that. So, personally, I just don't think, it's the right relationship for either of them. But the mere fact that they both are attracted to each other tells me something. She likes somebody, not necessarily that she can control, but I think she sees the vulnerability, the more emotional side of him, and maybe that part of her wants to have more of that. And he sees a strength in her, and maybe he wants some of that as well too, that he wants a bit more assertiveness in his own life. So And I wanted to avoid the term control from both of them, but yeah, both of them are trying to control the situation.
But
Yes,
that's that part of each of them that's speaking, that broken part from each of them that's speaking to each other, because they both want the opposite of what's actually in them. He wants her strength and she wants his softness. And I don't mean softness in that way, but that empath emotion. You know, she wants to be a little bit more free in her life, because she's very restricted. You can tell by the way she speaks. She don't have the freedom to seem like she can find humor for some strange reason. So she likes that about him. That's what's attracting her to him, and vice versa. He's attracted to her strength. He wants that for himself. But you guys just need to be friends. Y'all make a real good friend group and just listen. Y'all grown, just and get it out your system and move on to a friendship. You know what I'm saying? Just exchange that little bit of energy real quick and then just be friends. I shouldn't be promoting this, but you know, y'all grown. Y'all been doing stuff out here in these streets anyway, so do you. You on mute.
Sorry, let's move on. Let's talk about Phil and his I'm resisting the urge to say his white girlfriend, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Phil and his ex-white girlfriend. Okay, all right. No matter how you want to look at it, I'm gonna say it again. Let's talk about Phil and his ex-white girlfriend. Okay, right? Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay, all right, because that was crazy. All right. Yeah. So Phil brought his ex-girlfriend to the show. She said, "He don't touch me like that." That was sad when she said that, to be honest. I felt for her because I just knew that he wasn't going to touch her like that. But yeah, Phil didn't touch his ex-girlfriend like that, but he was touching areas like that. He said he's done a lot of work to change that. I was looking at him like, okay. Yeah, I hope you've done the work, or whether it's just the fact that you just are attracted to this woman now. But want to get you guys' thoughts. What's your thoughts about Phil, Amina, his ex-girlfriend, I think her name is, and the situation that was happening there? You know, I think Keyras was on that day as well, wasn't she? As well. So Keyras looked like she was having a whale of a time when she went to woman, but that's just me being shady. What's your thoughts, guys? And ladies as well. What's your thoughts?
About feeling his neighbor.
You can step up to the plate. Go for it.
Okay, feeling his neighbor. The date with Aries was really cute. Sounds like he should be with Aries. I have a sneaky suspicion that ain't none of these folks together. But I think Phil and Aries is the only person the theme song need to play for, and everybody else, including us, literally can all go home. We can all go to bed and we can just wrap this thing up right now. Yeah, but that day with Phil and his neighbor was kind of weird. The whole hand under the table, the whole "he don't touch me." I just can't even comment on that whole story because it's just not believable. But if we were to say that it's believable, I don't know why his situation or what he got going on with his job got to do with anything else. So I'm going to leave that alone because that doesn't make sense. And then on to the other date with Phil, his neighbor, Kira, and Kat. What is Kat still doing around if he want Aries? Like, does he like Kat? You know what I mean? Like, does he actually want to be with Kat? Do he think he should be with Kat? But he want to be with Aries too? I'm confused. And then why was Kira there? Kira ain't talked to that man this whole time. So, I mean, I'm a little confused. I really liked his neighbor though. She seemed like a really sweet girl, so I'm not going to talk about her. I really like her. She was sweet. And she did feel a solid one by coming on the show and lying. That's what I got.
All jokes aside, since Seaway done sat here and dropped the mic on the stage. Talking about this man's neighbor. I'm gonna leave it alone. But all jokes aside, if I was to actually just listen to their scenario and take it for true, that he wasn't touching her or this and that in a place, I would have questions as to why. Where were you at this time? What was the headspace? What was the real relationship in that moment? Because it sounded like situationship, that we only link up on drunk nights or whatever, and it wasn't really nothing. Because when she started it off, she was like, I'm trying to see if we're getting friend zoned or what. Like, if we're messing around and I'm already on it, why do I feel like we're friend zoned? So that means just y'all were just linking up, doing things. So no, I don't expect this man to be feeling on you and being extra affectionate when he just call you for a booty call, because that's what it was given. I'm sorry. That's all I got from it. So I can't really say how much I can take this as somebody for true. It's just somebody that, yes, seen you go through your different periods and growths. I have to know, how long ago was he not feeling on you? I'd be kind of like Aries. Well, he feeling on me just fine. So I don't know when this is happening. So he just wasn't attracted to you or whatever. I don't know. Can I get a real ex? That's what I want. Somebody that really has been through some trenches with you to know what it is. Like Chris's ex gave me real, even Q's ex gave me more real, but this right here is not giving me real at all. And so I just can't take it but for face value, to be honest. Keyra was damn sure happy. Okay. Keyra had found her tribe and she was happy to be sitting with somebody that can be as goofily, culturally ambiguous as she is. Okay. So Keyra was in a whole nother world. We should have forgot about Phil. I'm like Seaway. I don't really know why Kat is there. The most spark is with Aries, but I still don't really get it. There's something missing. Y'all remember when Joy and Clifton was all around each other? There was an energy. Even with Camille and Cornelius, there was some type of energy that was there. I'm not picking up on it with these two. These two are just two charming people that are got meshed together, and that's all I'm getting out of it. So I'm still waiting for something to really say, oh, I see it. I really see it. I actually get more from Janelle and Quentin energy than I do from these two. But I'll say this though, Aries, mama, when you walked in on that day, baby, that body, okay? Chef's kiss. All right, that's all I got. Listen, I want y'all to know I'm comfortable in my femininity and masculinity, okay? So I can say these things. Thank you.
I don't know why they saying that.
Leo energy is
listen, her birthday is in less than 2 hours, depending on what coast you're on. So we just gonna let her be.
Yeah, we let her have it.
Just let her have it. Just let her have it,
Just
Coach.
let her
Don't even bother with it.
Leo energy.
But again, I don't want to make it more than what it was, but we saw her in person and she has great energy, so I definitely
you can say it, but she has a great body. I'll say it for you.
Okay, that too, but also her energy is good too, like she has good energy, so I can see why Phil would be interested. I could see why his hand was on her leg, and again, I'm sorry for that lady, as they say, I'm sorry for the ex or whomever she was, Amina, I believe is her name. I'm sorry for her, but just like everybody said, it didn't seem like, they had a real situation. And I think, like, look, it hurts, but if somebody, they're just not that into you. I don't know how a better way to say it. It's like, he just wasn't that into you. And I'm not sure, she did the work that Quentin did to Lee. She did it on herself. She just kept telling herself, well, does he touch you? Is he affectionate? Because that was an issue with us. Ma'am. Don't you know that when somebody's not touching you, that means they don't like you. They don't like you like that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like you like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be running around checking in to see if everybody else was getting that same low-level treatment, because he just didn't like you like that. And I know they go through some level of process as to why they pick the people that they bring on as their exes. People got to sign disclosures, agree to be on camera, right? But if that's the best you could bring, bro, somebody who you had a little sneaky link with, who was already pissed off that you didn't touch them like that, do better. do better. But on the Aries Phil connection, they seem appropriate. You know, like when people seem appropriate, like we don't necessarily see sparks flying all across the place, but they do seem appropriate. There does seem to be some chemistry. But Aries made a comment the last episode where when they were leaving after they, exchanged that kiss, when they were standing by her car, she was like, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I don't know when the next time I'm going to see you again. So I don't know if they live far apart, because anybody who knows anything about Texas, sometimes you could live in the same city, but it might take you an hour, 2 hours. Dallas traffic is crazy. So now I'm not from Texas, so I'm not the aficionado, but I've been there a couple times, and it's worse than New York City traffic. The traffic is just bananas. But anyway, I think that they maybe don't see each other enough, and that might be something to think about. Like, how invested really is he? Is he really going to give her what she needs and what, she deserves to build off of? Because I think if we look on paper, they look like they can make it. But, there's something there. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, appreciate it. Definitely, I hear you on the Phil and Aries situation. They seem to be getting like a house on fire. So it could be something. I mean, he did say in the men's lounge, he wasn't very convincing about him actually even liking Aries or the other woman. So Katarina. Well, it sounded like he was more excited about Katarina, but didn't necessarily voice that. He voiced more his opinion in terms of what's her name going on my head now? You know what I mean. Anyway, but so I think Aries, sorry. So I think Phil likes Aries, but I just don't think he's ready to commit to someone like Aries. I don't think he's ready to do that just yet. But he definitely likes her, so I can't hate on that part. Okay, let's shift it then. Let's shift it. Oh, let's shift it. Okay, so the next part we want to talk about is Morier and his spirituality. Morier and spirituality. Okay. All right, Morier and spirituality. Oh, baby, it was an interesting situation with Morier. He came out and said, came out with his ex-girlfriend who asked first about sex. That didn't go well. And then the second one, obviously, about tarot reading. That didn't go well. And so I wanted to kind of ask about people's perspective when it came to Morier and, his ideas on spirituality and how the ladies also reacted, which was Janelle and Jessica, and how they took, a strong position against him using tarot cards, or at least using the lady asking tarot cards and that being part of his spirituality. I want to get you guys' thoughts. What's your thoughts on our boy Morier? What's our thoughts? Looks like the ladies are out of commission, Sean. Looks like it's a me and you tinkers.
Jay came back. Like, don't count me out. Jay said, don't count me out. I'm here. I'm here until I'm not. So Morier. Look, he done got me with that Yam no Horengehio. He threw me for a little curveball. I was a little taken aback with the mysticism of it all. Now, look, I try to be informed. I try not to sound like, a little off, but or old, but yeah, it just wasn't for me, like the tarot cards. So I was on Janelle's side and Jessica's side when she started doling out them cards and talking about mysticism and spirituality, and that kind of took me out, because usually when people say like I'm spiritual, at least in my experience, right? When they say I'm spiritual, that may mean, I believe in God, but I just don't go to church every Sunday, right? Or I might go to the chapel today and I might go to the mosque tomorrow. It might, I'm just open to different things. Or, I believe there's a God, but I don't believe in Jesus. I think I don't necessarily go straight to, oh, you believe in tarot cards and you believe in all these other things. I just didn't think of it that way. Now, yes, is that an element of things? 100%. But it just kind of struck me as odd. And I try not to say like polarizing things like this, but I just usually don't see brothers being all Yamnohod and Gehio. It just struck me as something that I'm not accustomed to. Now, is there a population of people that are out there that are into tarot cards and this and that? Sure. But I'm not used to seeing my brothers into it. So it just threw me for a very sharp loop turn. And yeah, I was with Janelle. Certain things I'm just not with. I think, listen, and I think is there some truth to it? Do some people have ability to see things? But for me and mine, I'm very cautious about what energies, what spirits we're bringing in to my vicinity. Now, I'm not going to judge you if that's what you do but you have a firm belief in it. Go off, I'm not going to break down whatever you're doing. For me, it's a negativo. It's just not something for me. I'm very cautious. I think you have to be careful. You got to be careful about it. And I know that Yamnohod and Gehio is Buddhism. I'm aware of that. It's a Tina Turner reference from What's Love Got to Do with It. But I just categorize all those things that are non-Christian in that category. So that's where I was going with that. That was a little joke. But back to Morier. Yeah. It's a little strange. And I mean, listen, did the woman in the tarot cards predict where their relationship was going to fall? Because them tarot cards didn't, she's talking about, let me read your, let me see what it's going to see. Did you flip over a card for yourself, ma'am? Because if you flipped over them cards for y'all and they told you the truth and you just sat along, then maybe. But yeah, I don't think them cards necessarily work. So that's it. That's my hot take.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to do my best not to sound ignorant, like in the true sense, like not in the way people use it all the time, but in the true sense, because I understand there's lack of knowledge that I have about this subject. But what I will say is that I think Morier comes off like a deacon. Like he gives like he grew up in the Baptist church, but this was the giveaway that he has either he did and he moved away from it or he never was. He said he's a Pan-Africanist or Pan-African, right? So I'm not super familiar, but I know my fave Dr. Umar is Pan-African, right? And what I know about him is that he doesn't believe in European religion, what he would call Christianity, anything related to Christianity. So when he said that he was a Pan-African, I figured that he did not subscribe to, like a Hotep. He did not subscribe to what we would have, what some people say is European religion. So I figured that he was not going to be walking in that line. Now, did I know that had anything to do with tarot card readers? I didn't know that was a part of that. Okay, so the crass wound man. Okay, I can't even say. Yes, I'm sure Pan-Africans can be Christian, but a lot of the ones that I see on YouTube aren't. So I don't know what percentage are, what percentage are not. You guys can respectfully correct me in the comments. I would love to learn more. So yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised because I would say his first kind of vibe to me gave like Christian church upbringing. And so when he came on that date with that woman in the tarot cards, I was like, why would you do this? That's like a big Christian no-no. Like, you don't even got to be big in the church to not play with none of those tarot card readings. So I'm not sure what his point was, but Janelle has been very, very, very vocal about her religion and her walk with God. Jessica, I didn't know where she stood, but I'm sure she's friends with Janelle, then they will probably have a similar upbringing. I don't know what his purpose was doing that. It was almost like he was like intentionally trying to piss them off, because why would you do that? Thought that was weird. But that's kind of like my only thoughts. That was a waste of the date because that was dumb. He should be with the girl who brought the tarot cards. Because if he said that he missed out on her, then he should go find her. I know it's a different date, but I'm just saying.
So my initial thoughts is, y'all talk on the phone all day so much. What are y'all talking about? Because by now, if y'all talking so much, these are conversations that you should have had over the phone or whenever you were talking. That's just how I look at it. I don't understand how things that are so important to my heart are going unsaid. If I have a strong stance in my religion, that's going to be like one of my number one thing that we're going to talk about if I'm being intentional on dating you. So that's giving me that none of y'all are intentional on anybody. Y'all just choosing each other for number ones because y'all don't have nobody else to put up there. That's what it's really given to right now. Because we got Jessica over here telling Chris she complaining about he not talking to her, but you spending all day talking to Maurier, but has no clue that this man is into spiritualism and researching his ancestry and everything else. And Janelle, you're running around telling everybody about your religion, but you don't have taken the time to find out what his religion is. Y'all all got a problem. And none of y'all really are here for each other. That's why Kojo feels the way that he did in the beginning. Like, this is just BS. This season is really giving BS, because whether you really want these people or not, none of y'all is actually being intentional in your dating process. Y'all not putting none of that practice in with any of these people to actually find out if you guys have any real potential with one another. So that was my number one thought. Secondly, Maurier is giving a person that's in their space of, I grew up in a particular religion, but I'm trying to find the truth for myself. Right now, he has landed over into spiritualism. And what we know for most Pan-Africans is that they're going to research ancestors. They're going to do astrology. They're going to do certain type of things that are rooted back into African culture and traditions along their walk for their truth. So that's just where he's landed right now. And it looked like he may have been open to, when he met this lady, this is what she's into. And she kind of got him into it as well. And it's something that probably stuck with him for now. I have no problem with that. That's what you want to do. That's between you and your God. You know, we all going to have to answer to our own sin. So do you. However, on the flip side, you knew that both of these ladies are pretty much strong in their stance, because you said that to your friend, your ex, when they came in, is that these ladies are very strongly rooted into their religious stance. Why wouldn't you not be upfront with them and tell them, hey, I grew up like this, but right now this is where I'm at in my search for the truth? All they can do is sit and respect that. Now you put these women in a very uncomfortable position of sitting here to be on camera, to sit here and basically almost feel like they're judging somebody else's stance in their religion or spiritualism or whatever it is that they're going through, just because they feel very uncomfortable about stepping out of their zone. And that was very rude and wrong of you to do, Maria. You should have sat here and told these women that this is what I'm into. I tend to do these things on the side, and let them decide. Now, we know production going to put y'all on a date with whoever, and none of y'all is actually matching with anybody. So it is what it is at this point, because I'm kind of over it. But seriously, if y'all out here dating, some of y'all main big deal breakers, which is like religion, finances, 5-year plan, those should be things you're actually talking about in all these conversations. I don't care about your color being blue just yet. I don't care about your favorite number is 10. I don't give a damn about none of that stuff just yet. I need the real, in our big grown age, I need the real deal breaking particulars get out the way first. And then we can find out what the little ins, small ins and outs are. Put all the big stones in your jar first, and then fill it up with all the little pebbles. That's how you maximize. So I don't know what these people are doing. Nobody's giving me an intentional. The only two actual, and that's why we look at them too, is Phil and Aries has given us some type of intentional movement through the process. But everybody else is just floating on, and it's kind of annoying to watch. So get it together. We're getting annoyed.
Yeah, listen, I hear you on that, Jay. You know, I just think to myself, if more, I was like, wait, how come it's taking them so many weeks to finally talk about this particular topic? Well, I mean, I guess maybe he's not saying it to women, maybe, or either that, or they're playing in our faces. Because spirituality is a huge thing, you know what I mean? Like in terms of what person believes. The tarot reading should have never happened. Tarot reading was just stupid because you hadn't actually asked them if they would be cool with that. You don't just dump that on somebody, especially when you know they have different faiths to you. That's crazy, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I just thought to myself, well, what's the point in doing this particular scene if you haven't asked the ladies if they would be agreeing to it? Like, are you just gonna thrust it on them? I was like, well, that would be very ignorant of you, naive to think that, because these, you know, especially Janelle, she's professing that she loves God, she loves Jesus. So I don't know about that, bro. Like, I don't know how you could have waited so long to come and say this to her. But yeah, no, for me personally, I was like with Morier, when he said he lost both of them, I was like, bro, I didn't even know Janelle was even one of your connections. I know Janelle spoke quite fondly in the last episode, but I did not know she was one of your connections. I was like, it's giving we're trying to keep him in, like Keyras said. I can't lie to you. It's giving that you're trying to keep him in. I don't ever see any connection between Janelle and Maury. I didn't see it at all, to be honest. It felt like it was just more of a, you know, prop up, you know. That was what I thought. Any other thoughts on Morier and spirituality?
What did y'all think about the ex asking them about asking Jessica about her sex drive?
I was just what'd you say, Sue?
Childish and produced.
It was just so direct. It wasn't no tag and no goof or nothing about it. It was just, do you like sex? Ma'am. Yes, but I don't need you all in my business. Get out, like, for real. And so I kind of felt Jessica and Janelle like, this is not really your business. If I do or don't, there's a better way to ask, or just tell us that he has a high sex drive. So just drop the information about him and let me secretly decide. Because they don't want him. They don't want him. I'm sorry. If it was somebody that wanted him, they would be like, yeah. But they don't want him. So I don't know, Sean. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was wild. I was like, I don't know if that's you know, and similar to kind of what Kojo was saying, how at the end of the day, when you meet the exes, the idea is to get to know quality stuff, right? You know, they already done jumped to sex. And it's not to say that it's not going to happen. Of course it is. But like, we have to, in order for the sex to be good, our foundation needs to be good, or we have to have some things in commonality, at least, you know, if we want an adult ready to love relationship. You know, if this is Love Island, then yeah, you could just skip right to sex, right? Because we know it's young 20-somethings that's just, you know, playing the game. But, you know, these are grown folks that are looking for long-lasting connections that are going to lead to real relationships. So we need to be talking about foundational things more. So I wish that it would have been a more substantive conversation than this surface level stuff, and then throwing people into an area that is uncomfortable on camera before we've even had a conversation with them to let them know, you know?
And the funny thing, oh, go ahead, Siwa.
I was about to pivot, so you go ahead.
Okay, because I was about to say that. And the funny thing, Sean, about that whole question on the sex or whatever, some of us women are like men, like how y'all grow and don't show off the bat. We grow in moisture. The more we know you, the more we like you. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, oh, I have a high sex drive for a man I don't know. Like,
you grow in moisture, Jay? I need to expound on that. I need to understand.
Do you need to understand, Sean?
I do. Just in this moment, can you give me 30 seconds of an explanation?
Pause. Say it all wrong.
Because that definitely piqued my interest. I'm like, okay. Let's figure this out. Somebody said put it on a shirt, Jay. Put that on a shirt.
Put it on. There we go. I like how Lucy B said adaptation.
All right, Seaway, help us pivot because we going into the after hours dark time. So
I was gonna pivot somewhere else, but I have a question. Where does this gout and ED come from? Did I miss some on the show?
that is Haitian Empress. That is what she nicknames Morier because she said he looked like he got gout and ED. So there's that. No one on this platform has said that. That is solely we could affix that to Haitian Empress. Because I had to ask her a couple of lives back, like, who is gout and ED? I keep seeing this.
Because I keep reading the comments. I was like, did I miss some on the show? Somebody has gout and ED?
That's Haitian Empress. She is shaming poor Maurier. So, you know.
Oh, well, my bad. Y'all got me saying it because I was confused. Okay, so the real the real pivot is, seriously though, I guess in light of the gout and ED, OWN really, if they're gonna make these next seasons more interesting, needs to do something to recruit actual high value, interesting Black men. Because not those looking to promote their business or promote at a club, literally, like actually. And I don't know what they need to do to attract these men, because I know Black men have a lot more options and they probably feel less inclined to go on this show. But it seems to be just a major decline this season with the Black men on this show. It's really disappointing. And I think it's just kind of affecting everything, because it's just like, why are we all here? You got Morier with the tarot cards. You got the Whisperer. You got Quentin and his problems. You had a guy tying people up. You had a man fresh out of the divorce from his ex-wife to wife. I just don't know. This is just all horrible. Herbert he's moving turtle slow. Phil, I still can't put my fingers on what's going on with him. What's the point? Like, who's a person like Kat really supposed to date here? Like, who is really on Kat level? Like, she should just self-eliminate. Who is she really supposed to be with? That's all. I'm just kind of disappointed.
I hear you 100%. Sean, any more thoughts? No? All right, cool. Let's shift it again. Let's talk about Keyras' wonderful bright exit. Okay, Keyras' bright exit. What's your guys' thoughts on Keyra and her exit? Because you know she got the walk in, got the step in, and said, you know, you can have my drink, and she popped out of there quickly. What's your guys' thoughts on Keyra's? Was it a bit extra? Was it a bit extra her exit? Was it normal? I thought it was a little bit was a bit heavy. The exit. I didn't think she needed to do all of that, but you might see things differently. You might see things her way, or you might see things someone else's way. It depends what you feel like. But I feel like the situation, you know, Keyra.
It was extra, but she's extra. It was extra, but she's extra. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have did it. It was kind of over the top for me, but at least she brought some interesting to the show. I'll give her that. You know, she made it entertaining. That exit, when she told that man, you can have my drink, I hollered. I was like, girl, not you can have my drink.
She said,
but I do think she's ready to love. I do think she's ready to love. Just not nobody on this show. So I didn't hate it. Good for her. It was time for her to go.
I hear that. Anyone else talk about Keyra's bright exit?
I personally was waiting for a twirl out, you know what I'm saying? Or yay, ready
Give
for
me a
what?
somersault. I want to see a somersault.
I'd have loved a somersault. That would have been an exit. Hey, did she have on the boots when she left out though? No? No? Okay. We're good. We're good. She exit on a high note for me. Okay. We did. She did good. It was I wasn't even mad at her exit. You know, she was still Keyra. I don't expect nothing less from her, you know. She was who she was. And, you know, she like, I'm just gonna leave this drink in your hands. Enjoy. And she walked on out. So she'll find her person out there because her person definitely was not on this show. And she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She needs another dancer. That's what she actually needs. Somebody that has dancing spirit because she wants to do TikToks and all these things with a person. So she needs somebody who has a dancing background. Oh, is that a nod, a little look?
Baby, I wasn't meant to be a nod. I'll tell you that for sure, mate. But she is kind of cute still.
The night. Oh, night.
I'm almost at night. You can tell. Any other thoughts on Kira's bright exit? It was a bit of a bright exit. Sean, you haven't said anything? Go for it.
And yeah, I would just say, you know, I think that whenever people leave in a huff like that, you know, I just would kind of hesitate to say she's really ready because, you know, at a certain point, you got to have some level of accountability for how you showed up in the process, right? It doesn't mean it's your fault, but I think like you can't just be, you know, nice nasty the way she kind of was. You know, afterwards I've seen like, you know, hey, like how she was open to the fact like she wrongly, you know, went about the whole Quentin thing and him dating white women. She owned up to that. So I think to a certain degree that shows me she's open to see, you know, when she's wrong. But yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of the way she left. It was funny, it was entertaining, it was humorous, but if you get right below that point, it speaks to how she feels she was done. And I don't think she sees herself as showing up in a particular way that rubbed the guys wrong enough for them to put her in the bottom. I think she was like, listen, I'm better than y'all anyway, and ain't nobody here for me. And whenever people leave like that, that shows me if that's your gut reaction to handling conflict or handling, you know, the rejection, you still have some growing to do, right? You know, when you handle it like that abruptly, you still got some work to do. I mean, pretty girl, I think she's smart, she's funny, she's got some, you know, little spice to her, but I think she got a little bit more time on the bench before she's ready. My little opinion.
Go for it, Jay, if you want. Oh no,
I didn't have anything.
no. Yeah, no. I think her bright exit was a little bit better. I can tell that I felt like she was a little bit hurt by, even though she said she had nobody there that was mutual. It doesn't really matter. It's more about the case of like, you know, everybody wants to feel like they're desired and they're wanted, and when they're not feeling that, it can be very painful. So I think her exit, you know, she can do whatever she wants if she wants to exit the mad thing, but it does communicate something. And I think with her, you know, I think the situation with, you know, the black culture aspects and all that kind of stuff, it was just kind of piling on to being, you know, a bit of a problem for her. But that's not the reason why. I don't think that's the reason why they decided to get rid of her. If I'm honest with you. But I think what was interesting with Keyra, you know, I remember watching it, I was like, she even said, "Oh, you can have my drink." I was like, "Now, ma'am, why we gotta do that? Why we gotta do that?" I was like, "Why do we have to do that?" But I think, you know, like you're saying, Sean, I think the reality is when someone wants to make a scene, when they want to leave on a high note or a foot or a bang, they tend to do this kind of stuff, right? And they're not usually innocent parties either, right? So I think she might want to look at that to make sure that, you know, she goes back over that. Maybe there is some corrections, who knows? But just know that that behavior wasn't acceptable to leave the way that you did. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, cool. Any other thoughts of Keyra? And her bride's it. Okay, cool. Let's talk about Herbert and him moving slow, because boy, man say he's not moving anywhere quicker than snail pace. Y'all gotta deal with that. I was like, sir, you are afraid to commit. If that's the case, how slow do you want it to be? How slow can it get? How slowed down do you want the process to be? Like, you're going basically slow it all the way down to the person basically just kind of almost kind of folds into a relationship without actually asking for a relationship. Yeah. No, we ain't about to do that here. Sorry. What's your thoughts on Herbert and moving slow, guys? What's your thoughts?
Herbert's still giving me he's still in his Playboy phase. Like all those little comments he was trying to make in the beginning. If I had all the women, I wouldn't be here. This, that. It's all a little cover a mask that you just taking it slow. Like, and I get it. People move at their own pace, but you talking about you want kids and all these things that you kind of need to get a move on, because you want to be active with your kids. You want to be participating in a lot of things that you do. You don't want to be a 60-year-old man at your, preteens t-ball game. Like, seriously, you want to be able to enjoy some of these parts with them. So you got to kind of have some mission, some goal about you. And it's so funny that Keyra would say that Phil doesn't have any direction or ambition, but it's given that with Herbert. Like, he doesn't have no true goals in mind, and for you just to find out that Janelle wants all these things in a year, but you want kids so bad, you should be trying to figure out how soon she wants to be married and having children. What are we talking about again? We're not having the proper conversations with one another. So I'm not even understanding how these people are really your tops when you guys are not having top line conversation with each other. So I don't know. If you want to move at your own speed, that's fine. Do you? Things happen. People fall into people's laps at some age and you pop up and just get married. That's what it's given to me, that he's just going to do it shotgun style, last minute, wake up one day and say, this is what it is. If you that lucky woman, congrats to you, I guess. But in this setting, you're wasting everybody's time, because this is a high speed situation. I need to make a decision, a definite right now, on starting a relationship, not jumping into marriage, but starting a relationship with the person from here. And if I don't have anybody, that's fine. And that's what it's really given, is that you don't have anybody to even push you to say, let me stake my ground here. Not Kat, not Keyra, not Janelle, not Aries, nobody. Like, you're not staking your ground with anybody. And it's just really strange. So we're wasting our time with this one again.
Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, like, because I didn't think Janelle's timeline was that unrealistic. Especially if you go through a process like this, which is somewhat, you're getting to know somebody in a compressed amount of time. So I think, like, yes, it's televised and blah blah blah, but you're getting some of the things that usually take months and months and months out of the way during like a few 3 to 6 weeks. So I would think that 8 months after that, you would know, like, okay, is this somebody I could spend the rest of my life with? And you see the couples who choose each other after the show. They very quickly, within a matter of months, either they stay together or they don't, So I don't understand why he was waiting. And like, what are you waiting for? Listen, we do have a friend who is not here to discuss his point of view, but he does lean on the longer side of things when it comes to making commitments. So, hey, there's a pot for every lid, and there may be some, women that are more open to that lengthier process. But I don't think, and look, I'll say this, sometimes people say one thing and then do another, right? So they tell you, oh yeah, I'm ready, but then before you know it, 2, 3, 4 years passes by. And I don't think that's right. So at least he's upfront. And sometimes people wind up staying in these long-term engagements that should have been a marriage a year after the engagement. I'm not a fan of that. I think if I propose to you, or if we serious and we're going to get married, then somewhere about a year's time from the time I proposed, we should be getting married. Like it should. It's like at a certain point, if I'm really want to get married, it does not take years upon years, and especially when you are of a particular age, as Seaway, has educated us to the time frame, right? So if I'm in my 40s, which I am, I'm definitely not going to be sitting around wasting somebody's time and my own for 2 and 3 years, and then be like, oh no, because now that person is, you're kind of like playing with them, because if they want kids, they have a certain window. Men can go a little longer, but it's not like we want to be out here being, nobody 60 and plus and having kids for the first time. That's, that's for the rich, right? The super rich that can hire a bunch of people to help you. But if you Joe Schmo, middle class, whatever, 60 and having no kids, you just kind of need to hang it up, right? So I say all that to say, I don't think he needs that much time. It's more about him and him not being ready. Because if a man is ready, you'll be ready within 1 to 2 years. And Janelle's time frame was very reasonable.
Any other thoughts on Slow Turtle, Herbert? Go for it, 2A.
I just think Herbert doesn't want anybody here. So, I mean, he's just kind of saying whatever. But again, to humor this conversation and the lies that people are doing up on the show, if he does want somebody, it is a very just ridiculous kind of thought that a 41-year-old woman has, endless amount of time to be playing around with you. And then I thought it was very inconsiderate, him talking about, I'm not old, I got time. Okay, well, if you're not old and you have time, then date somebody your age, however old that is. I don't even know how old is Herbert? Because he looked the same age as Janelle. How old is he?
I think he's
Old
40.
enough.
He definitely looked. He appears. I thought it was 40, but maybe somebody said 37. But I think he's 40. He
Right. Okay. So he's not a spring chicken himself, I guess. But I thought that was kind of inconsiderate as a man to say, I'm not old, I got time. Basically saying because either he's not old or he's not a woman, he got time. Okay. So that's very rude. But if that's the case, then you should just go ahead and date somebody who's 30, 31, 32. So you can waste 5 years of their time. And so they still got time to do what they got to do. I don't know. I just thought the idea of saying that and knowing that you're talking to a 41-year-old woman was extremely inconsiderate, childish, and annoying. And he talk about he ain't old, he got time. You never talk about what time you got. We all on borrowed time. He don't know what he got. So he shouldn't be sitting around playing. So that's what I think.
Listen, I hear that. When you're someone like Herbert trying to do the slow stuff, I don't understand what the slow stuff is about. At your grown-ass age, you don't have time to be slowing it down. You need to be getting on the bike quickly. So for me personally, I was like, why is he? I just think to myself, the reality is either he's scared about commitment, or rather, it could be that, you know what, the brother just doesn't like anybody there enough to be able to want to speed up the process. I don't understand why you want to slow things down so much dramatically to a point it's almost like a grinding halt. So for me personally, I mean, doing it slow like that, I don't think he likes anybody there. That's why he's saying that. He doesn't really like anybody there, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he has anybody on his mind that he's like, oh, properly me and you. I know he has a little bit of connections elsewhere and stuff, but I don't think there's anyone that really tickles his fantasy, because you would not be talking about wanting to slow it all the way down.
Yeah,
but that's just my personal thought.
Does he have kids? I don't know if he has kids.
Oh, does he have kids? I think he has kids, yeah, but he wants to definitely have some more.
Oh.
Time is against it. Well, time is not against it if he chooses younger, but the time will be against the ladies who he chooses. So to be honest, he can say that he wants to chill on all the time, but your lady will be the one that actually will be the one subjected to the time. So he should get a move on.
Yeah, that's a frustrating conversation, I think, when men talk as if they're completely unaffected by the timeline of women. Sure, you're unaffected, I guess, until you settle down. But if you decide to settle down with the woman and then you've already wasted 7 years of her time, and let's say now she's 39, well, you may have to go through IVF with her. And that's gonna be a joint thing that you guys have to do together. Like if you actually pick somebody that you really care about, their timeline should also matter to you. It's an annoying burden, I think, that women have to hold, and it feels like we're holding it by ourselves, but we're bringing life into this world for all human race, for both men and women, you know. So it's like, be mindful. In a perfect world, I wish that wasn't the conversation. I ain't old, so I ain't got to worry about it. Okay, sir.
You ain't telling no lies. You ain't telling no lies. All right, cool. I think that's the lot. I think there's one more. Wasn't there? Did I miss somebody?
I think it's just Sierra, but I mean, she wasn't really talking about nothing.
Sierra and who was on the date with Sierra? Was it Morier?
Yeah, it was Morier.
What was she saying? She was talking about her situation was with Morier was what was her main focal point?
Well, they were just saying that she just is so jokey and
homeboy vibes.
Homeboy vibes, and you know, just trying to see if it could be more than a homeboy. And you know, even at the end of the day, it wasn't. It was still kind of the same thing. And she was cracking jokes. She also seemed like she felt like he was still stuck on Miss Tarot Card Reader, and so she was trying to figure out why she was there. So, which I agree with her. She's so funny though. I just didn't understand why she was there either. I'm like, you wanna be with your ex with the tarot cards? Go be with her. Like Sierra says, is that your queen?
Mm-hmm.
Go be with your queen. So I mean, the feedback they gave is that she acts like a homeboy. I don't see that changing. So I think she should just go home next week. And then Kat should go home after that. Maybe Kat and Jessica. So we can move on.
I'm hearing you on that 100%. Homeboy vibes. Anyone else got some thoughts on this? Because why?
Who are we talking about?
My eyes are singing. Sierra.
Sierra.
Home girl vibes.
In that category, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see her with anybody. I don't see anybody for her on here. And she does like have great dating conversation and just going with the flow. So that's probably what they mean, that she to go with the flow with a lot of things. She's just in the middle. She's riding that wave, and she's not giving nobody no strong energy anyway outside of we're cool. So I can kind of see where they're going with it. Yeah, there's nobody here for her. I don't know. This season was poorly casted on chemistry and a whole bunch of other things. So it's just hard to speak. I don't have nothing really bad outside of that about her. To me, she seems like a good dater. I'm trying to figure it out. I guess we need some more context, some more conversation that's coming from her where it's just such a bad thing. But I guess apparently y'all don't want to date your homegirls. Y'all just want to F them from time to time. So,
Sean likes to date homegirls.
Sean likes to date homegirls, yeah. Sean got the long game. He try to act like he don't, but he do. Low key got long game.
Sean, tell us why you hate dating.
That would be
Why
more
are you so
interesting.
tickled, Coach?
Well, listen, friends can the Kojo pause anyway. Friends can be lovers and lovers can be friends. So I'm with that. I like that, you know.
Tell me again.
Yes.
Tell me again.
We can be lovers and friends, you know? I'm with it. I love that. I actually like that because that is like if you can laugh and have sexual chemistry, that's a top tier relationship. That's like 50 to 60% of the relationship. Y'all can laugh, y'all have a good vibe, y'all get along. That to me is important. So yes, I do like chemistry. I do like friendship, you know, so for me that is important. However, I don't think I need to see like chemistry. I need to see you're interested in me, right? So I don't see that from Sierra, and I don't think maybe if she's not getting that same energy to give it back, maybe there's nobody she's genuinely interested in on the cast, so that's really like piquing her interest. And I think sometimes I think that's kind of how she vibed a little bit with Habibi before he went off the rails, because he has that quirky, off the cuff kind of sense of humor, and you know, then they can kind of build off of that. So I think she needs somebody who is not intimidated by her sense of humor, who is also not put off by her, right? Like Chris 2.0 was. She scared him away, you know, talking about the Birkin bags. So I think she needs to find a guy like that. And I don't think there's any of these guys here that are really seeing it for her. And I'm not sure she's seeing it for them.
Thank you, Sean.
Why is he over there? Thank you. Why he like the? Hey, you like you in the Uber again?
Hey, I'm so tired, yeah, but I know
He is
that.
hilarious.
I was so tired, but and then Seaway yawned, and I just started crying because I said that Seaway tired too. That's why she been blinking up and on.
Y'all know, you know I'm tired. I'm ready to cancel this whole show, but then what were we talking about?
I was like, I appreciate Sean for giving us real feedback, because I've been talking out my ass the last 10 minutes. Swear to God, it's worse than the taxi. I'll tell you that now. I'm walking freeways in my dreams.
If we didn't know any better, and most of y'all know, Kojo does not drink at all, like nothing, not a sip, not a toast, not anything. If I didn't know you better, I would think you were tipsy right now, because that's how like silly you are. You are like tipsy.
We are tipsy on sleep,
but you're sleep drunk. That's what that is.
Grace
Listen, check
Mercy.
out this man's TikTok. Check out his IG. He's been partying up, dancing up on stages. Getting home
Man,
at
it's the
6
Lulu.
o'clock in the morning. He's out here.
Delulu.
The
I think I could produce a better show than this at this point.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. This man's laughter.
Oh, did you see way with the show?
First of all, you need a good love story, and for that, you need a hopeless romantic. So they should have left on the dude, the two-time divorcee.
She's about to executive produce this show on the fly.
Hell yeah, we need it.
Well, the fine two-time divorcee, he at least is ready to love somebody. Okay, he should have stayed on there longer. That would have been a way better story.
Then ready to love for the third and fourth time. He'll double back on you.
Yeah, I mean, at least we could have got into that. And then we needed Chris 2.0. We needed a Chris 2.0 with better personality. He was just being a parrot and repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. But like, other than that, he would have been straight. And they needed a Habibi that wasn't committing sexual assault and harassment, allegedly. Like that, I don't know if I said allegedly. For what was heard and what we heard on the streets. I mean, but his personality was needed, but they need to get back to actually ready
Don't do that with yourself to sleep.
I swear it took me out.
You know you can't leave. You can't let
Get
Celia
that Habib-
run amok
get
for
that
too
Habib
long,
out of
'cause
here.
She's gonna just
Listen, get that Habib
all the
out of
way.
here. She said, "Get that Habib out of here."
Wants to trade Brandon for Herbert for sure. Like, what we supposed to do with Herbert and Phil but go to sleep? Like, what are we really supposed to do?
I don't know.
This is what Dallas has to offer, y'all.
Dallas
Yeah.
boring as hell. And then somebody in the comments said this, and I agree. We're done with the South. We need to go to New York, Chicago, Philly, Detroit. I don't care where we go, but out the South. Like, some got to change. Go to LA. No, don't go to LA. We're gonna have some shenanigans. But
Don't come here.
I think we should go to LA.
Go to Louisiana.
And I don't think they have the production budget for like New York and LA because that's gets
is that why they're staying out of there?
Mm-hmm.
They can go to Louisiana so we can see if we can get some more cartwheels.
What production button do they need, bro? They don't even pay these people enough money to even have a production budget.
That's what I'm saying. That's why
Oprah got connections in Chicago. They know they could do a Ready to Love Chicago. That would go crazy.
I think we get shut down.
That would be way better.
Not Oprah.
Ready to Love Detroit.
Here, Coach.
What he said?
The reckless vagabond youth would shut that place down, boy. The cameras will be
Kojo
stolen.
thinks Chicago is not right.
Kojo watch too much TV.
They'll steal your cameras, baby. You ready to live on the run?
You got to have all the Chicago. You gonna have all the Chicagoans in your chat, your comments.
They said Haitian
the
Empress
cameras
said
on the
ready
run.
to dodge bullets.
Look, I'm not even gonna take y'all slander. I'm living quite fine.
Well, they don't know about you, Seaway. You live in the burbs, okay? You're not a true Chicagoan.
She's burb adjacent, Sean.
Yeah.
You go after high security guards for Chicago. You gotta go to New York first.
You still
You don't need to go to bed.
Hey,
This guy need to go to bed.
Hey, you have to call them prayer warriors for Chicago.
Oh my God, Sean is Seaway. Literally, this would how Kojo would be if he did drink. Oh my God, listen.
Somebody just write that man drink.
Chicago.
Bartender, no more.
No, she gotta go.
I'm ready to love Nebraska.
You ain't ready to love.
Oh
She
my
gotta go.
Coach, you are like next level right now.
Turn up for me then.
Or maybe ready to love Charlotte. They just need a place where there's some men with some money.
You sent them back to the South. You sent them to
I'm saying if they got to be in the South, like they need to find a place with some men with some money.
Well, listen, they were in Atlanta, Dallas, Houston. There's nothing but
go to New Orleans so we can get another cartwheel.
Come on, when we go out with the DC cast, there's not a shortage of wealth.
Sean,
aren't they going to,
if they go to New Orleans, we can get another cartwheel though.
If y'all ain't been to Chicago,
we might catch a case too. Because oh boy,
you gonna definitely catch a case because you're gonna be like a Joel. Joel.
I would imagine it'll be interesting to see where they go next.
I'm just saying,
aren't they going to New Orleans?
Regular place.
They did put a ring in New Orleans.
Oh, okay. That's different then. Okay, I thought it was Ready to Love.
No, they did that in Atlanta. They just had him come from up.
No, what's her name? The pretty girl. Oh, she's so pretty. What's her name?
They were in Atlanta when they started, no? Creole
they were in New Orleans. What's the girl? Ashley,
and what you call that? I thought they were still in Atlanta though.
In Hollywood? I thought they were in New Orleans for some reason. Maybe not.
The show always filmed in Atlanta, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where we'll have, I think they have New Orleans next on list. Ready to Love, so they're next to go.
Oh, that'll be
someone said Alabama.
I
don't know about that.
That's deep south now.
That's Ready to Run. Yeah, they said they weren't in NOLA. Okay.
It was ATL. Well, everybody was from New Orleans.
Yeah, either go back to Atlanta or go someplace else. But honestly, Jacqueline, I am stressed because people over here talking about my city they ain't never been. They don't know. That's number one.
Anyway, said put some respect on Chicago.
And I take my city very personally.
I take my personal safety very safely.
It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So if you ain't been, you're missing out.
I agree, man. Y'all just need to get your youth in order. That's all. They're a little bit crazy.
Who did you bogus on the dating scene in Chicago? Let me know. What you done been through on the dating scene? I'm just saying. You see, it's even happening. Y'all even influence the London youth people. They're out here rioting and running up in people's shops and organizing themselves on TikTok. They're doing that in LA. They're doing that in your favorite Atlanta. They was up in the Galleria in your favorite Houston. What they got to do with Chicago?
No,
they've been doing the most actually in LA. Huh?
Y'all are the epicenter.
No, they've been running down on all them shops in LA. You mad at LA too? And Houston. They was down there in the Galleria.
That's fair. Chicago. They said Chicago is great for dating. Chicago is cool. I went to concert at Risk Park this summer. Chicago is great for dating.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of men with some funds here. So that's why I'm saying the women need an opportunity to find some men with some actual money that don't want to be promoters and TV stars. Like, that's why I think they need to get out of the South and get to some regular cities with people doing regular things. Truth. I said, what happened to you in the Chicago dating scene? Who did you bogus? Let us know.
Chicago has poor quality men, apparently, like the air.
Nobody said that. This one person keeps saying that. I keep asking them what happened. They don't want to tell me.
They said Chicago don't have no quality men, just like the air. Sean, can you give us the? Can you give us?
I gotta say thank you all for y'all birthday love and stuff. I gotta go because I'm supposed to walk into this dinner right now.
Wait, is it your birthday yet? Is it birthday yet?
Not yet. I gotta go though.
Okay, happy birthday, baby.
I love y'all. Bye.
Happy birthday. We love you.
I mean, love you. Not love y'all. Love you.
Welcome, DJ, to the Shy. Welcome.
Hey, DJ. Welcome to the Shy.
Coach, what's going on with you?
Huh? I'm welcoming her like Seaway said. I'm welcoming her. Say, hey, welcome to the Shy. Welcome to the Shallow. I used to call it a Chi. Welcome to the Chi.
All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up.
Better dies, sir. Better dies. We need a benediction.
Okay. So listen, folks, I'm sorry. I'm telling you in advance, this is going to be a piecemeal benediction, but look, we don't have a lot to work with right now, but let's just wish these couples some healing energy. First off, listen, your exit should always be graceful. Even if you felt like you were done dirty, just leave in peace. It's always a sign of how you take defeat. We say it in sportsmanship, you want to have good sportsmanship, right? So don't walk off, with a nice, nasty exit. If your relationship doesn't end well, you always should look to see, what did I learn, right? So what do we learn from relationships that don't go well so that we can do better next time? Ultimately, when it comes to chasing, we don't need to be chasing anybody, right? Squirrels chase each other, and we know how that ends in madness and ricochet of acorns falling off trees. And none of us want to be running around chasing squirrels and trees. Shout out to Sia. She does some great anecdotal commentary on animals and how they should be aligned. We don't want to be a wild squirrel running around chasing each other, going nowhere, right? We need direction in love. So please have direction, have a timeline that's reasonable, right? We don't want nobody waiting 10, 12 years to settle down. Everybody has a timeline. Everybody deserves love, and commitment in a reasonable amount of time, right? And when you're ready to settle down, make sure that you first have all the understanding of who you're going to be paired with, and that you guys have a foundation that is in common. Back to you, Coach.
Amen.
Oh, thank you, Sean. That is a pleasure. And
Not you
yeah.
stealing the stuff from Tasia, the animal references.
I need her to leave this animal reference alone. Okay, she done told us about this poor Mr. Eagle who almost got drowned. But anyway, listen,
That's my girl.
Mr. Eagle was out. I was like, why is Mr. Eagle in this situation? Mr.
No,
Eagle is
don't
out
do
here
this. She got
drowning
the
in
best
rapid waters.
animal references.
She said, Mr. Eagle almost drowned in here. Trying to, I was like, oh Lord. Okay. All right, guys. Listen. Guys, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for turning out and coming through. I know I'm a bit tired, but don't worry about that, guys. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. All right. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll be back tomorrow. Okay. All right. So listen, you make sure you enjoy yourselves. Stay prayed up. I have no clue what I'm saying right now, and this is what's scary. I'm just kind of just saying what comes to my head, but I appreciate y'all. Those of you in Shy, shout out to you guys as well. We appreciate you. Okay, all right, and the rest of you who are in different states, clearly it's not as good as Shy. So we'll see you again very, very soon. I'm being paid to say this. The Seaway slipped me some cash out money, so I wanted the rest. Shy.
Go to bed, Coach Ophelia.
I'm just kidding. Shout out to those who are in the Shy Rock. We appreciate you. Okay, all right. On the rivers of Shy Rock, hey, where we went down. All right, let's go to bed. All right, appreciate you guys. Say long, say later. We'll see you again soon, and I'll probably be really embarrassed tomorrow when I watch this back. But don't worry about that. I appreciate y'all.